Hello and welcome to this new session of Amazingly Easy Phrasal Verb. In today's session, we're going to highlight the grammatical part related to phrasal verbs. So first, we're going to know what are phrasal verbs. The type of phrasal verbs are also to be mentioned in this presentation, and we're going to highlight the problem we might face using them. So what are phrasal verbs? As you all know, phrasal verbs are a combination of a verb plus preposition or a verb plus adverb, such as turn on or break away, which simply means escape from something or someone. Here are some types of phrasal verbs. I want you to know that some phrasal verbs might include three parts, such as cut down on something, which means have less of that thing. Put up with means to agree or make something valid. And make up with, which make or try to fix a problem or compensate. There are different types of phrasal verbs: transitive, intransitive, separable, and inseparable. So first, let's review what transitive and intransitive means when talking about verbs. It means that after the verb comes the adverb and preposition, which goes with specific verb for sure, and then the direct object, meaning the to or what receiving the action. The direct object must be included when we are talking about transitive verbs. And transitive means to cross, so the action of the verb or the adverb or the combination of verb and preposition needs to cross into a person or a thing. But with intransitive verb, no direct object is needed. Let's look at the example here. We have the teacher called on the sleeping student. So the sleeping student is the direct object. And in this second sentence, we have the police are looking into the crime. So the crime is the direct object in the second sentence. And with intransitive, we often it out no direct object is needed. And he was too tired to get up also doesn't need a direct object. But be careful. Some phrasal verbs can be transitive and intransitive, but for sure with different meanings. For instance, look up. As a transitive verb can mean check a dictionary for a word, as in Stan looked up the new word. So Stan took the dictionary to know the definition of the word. Or look up can be also intransitive and can mean to improve, as in this sentence, Maria lost her job, but now things are looking up. So she was sad when she first lost her job, but then she improved herself and her situation is also improved. Some phrasal verbs can be separable by direct object, and some cannot. Instead, the direct object separates the verb and adverb or preposition. But you have to know that separable verbs are only transitive because transitive include the direct object, so we can separate the verb and adverb or the preposition by putting the direct object in the middle between the two. We have the example of blew up, which means explode like a bomb or in it. We can say the army blew up the mine or the army blew the mine up. And we can also if we already mentioned the mine, we can say the army blew it up. Call off means to cancel an event, as in the manager called off the meeting. We can also say that the manager called the meeting off. And if we have already mentioned the meeting, then it's better to use the pronoun it. So the manager called the meeting, called it off. We can also, we have a case where we have direct object, but it would be better if we keep the verb and adverb next to each other. Why? Because we have sometimes um, a very long direct object. So there is no point to put that long direct object between the verb and adverb. When it comes to inseparable verb, the verb and adverb or preposition cannot be separated from each other. They must go together without any interruption. For example, combine, which means find by accident. So we can say Walt can buy an $100 bill, but it's not correct to say Walt came $100 bill by. The same thing goes with live on, which means support oneself. So some people live on very little, but it's incorrect to say that some people live very little on. It has no sense, or it makes no sense. Take after, which means look like or resemble. So we can say that George takes after his mother, but it's incorrect to say that George takes his mother after. You have to know that some phrasal verbs must be separated. And we have three patterns of this. If you have a verb plus object and plus adverb, for example, ask someone back, which means to invite someone to return for a visit, then the someone should be included in the middle between ask and back. And the same goes with have something on. So wear clothing. So the clothing or the thing that you're gonna wear should be in the middle between have and on. We have the second pattern, which is a verb plus object plus preposition plus object. So leave, for example, leave someone for something, which means abandon someone for a reason. So here you're gonna mention someone before the preposition for, and after you need to mention the thing. And we have also the example of run something by someone, which means share an idea with someone. So the same pattern is used here. The third pattern is verb plus object plus adverb plus preposition plus object. For sure, it's a long pattern, but we have many phrasal verb including this. So make it up to someone. When you want to fix a problem or a mistake and promise that you're going to fix it by doing something. And pass something off as something else means to say that something fake is real, follow the same pattern. For sure, there is many reasons why phrasal verbs are really hard to deal with. First of all, because they have multiple meaning. So how can we know which meaning is used? Well, for me, I would say that you need to look up the context or use the phrasal verb in a context would define which meaning is followed. Let's take the example of take out, which means to borrow a library book or go on a date with someone. If you check the first sentence, I need to take out a book about geology for my research paper. Here, the suggest meaning is borrow a library book. But we have also Jake wanted to take Sally out on a date, but she said no. So then we can understand from this context that Jake went to go on a date with Sally, but she refused. So see, it's easy to guess the meaning by using the phrasal verb in a correct context. Well, the second thing that makes them very challenging is because they're idiomatic. So we cannot guess the meaning like from the preposition and the verb, or the preposition or the verb and adverb. So the parts don't add it up to the meaning. If we see, for example, turn, which means switch a knob left or right, and off, which means separate or remove. If we gather them, we can say turn off, which means switch off. And the same thing goes with the preposition on, which is basically in contact with a supported by something or unsupported by something. So here, the meaning of switch in and switch on and switch off is obvious. But sometimes it's really hard to guess the meaning. We have another meaning, speak out. So if you speak in a normal tone, then it's okay. But if you speak out, that means you're angry and you gonna argue against an idea. So here also I can guess the meaning easily. But sometimes it's really challenging. Let's take for example, look into. So look into. Um, it's a bit hard to guess which meaning is suggested by this phrasal verb. So thank you so much for attending today's session, and I hope it's beneficial for you. Take care.